my god, excellent connection? I'm shocked. Bewilderment. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. No delay and no lag. Dude, no delay, no lag, and it says excellent connection once I opened it up. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was looking through my laptop and I was fiddling around with stuff, and I realized that I was on iOS 16 and I was supposed to be updated to iOS 28. So that might have been part of the problem. Other than that, we're just gonna have a really good stream. Yes, we are doing notes. I have my notes up. I have everything all set. I've got it all ready to go to keep the notes and everything I need. I'll wait a couple more minutes to let more people come in, and then I'm gonna start. Okay, here's the thing. I said it's not that I didn't like Volume 2. I did really like Volume 2. I thought that there was really great parts of it, especially you talked about poverty and adding characters and certain things. Oh, yes. Author notes. Give me 1 second. I do have the author's notes. I do have them. I'll put those in right now. I knew there was something I was forgetting. But I did love Volume 2. I'm gonna see how much I love Volume 3 though. Okay. No, it is all worth it for Miss Sharon. Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna start with the author's notes from last one, and then we'll go from there. Okay. The second volume was written about 8,500 words. That's crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, it did feel very long, which is a very long one in the structure. I think on this title, it goes. Okay, on the structure. I think only the third and fourth volume of The Sage Who Transcends Samsara are more than it. I think and write every day, although I am very happy, I am really tired, especially this month. I also added exercise and almost didn't even have time to read novels. He was really just pushing himself. The title of the book is Faceless, which is expected to have 3 meanings. Note that the following are the standard answers for reading comprehension. The first is to advance to Faceless, which is the simplest and easiest to think of. The second is to represent Zhao living condition in Backlund. Zhao Kei's living condition in Backlund. He uses fake face, fake name, and fake identity to get to know people, handles things, and get involved in disturbances. But when he returns home, he is still lonely and deserted. The third references those who have been smashed into power or rushed into the great error. The history books, they have no name, no appearance, no past, no life, and exist only in simple numbers or descriptions. In a sense, it is this of Faceless, the least noticeable canon fodder. Who cares what the face look like? Just like this sentence, when one is hungry, one eats another. How how much sadness, pain. I'm like, the way I'm reading it, it's like really weird. So just give me a break because I have to like scroll back. Pain, cruelty, blood, and despair are contained in the simple 6 words, and how many living people without faces or names are condensed? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. Therefore, I tried to give some descriptions to the old Coiler, Liv, and Freya in the wave of time, tried to restore the hope, hardship, and tragedies of these faceless, making them look like people instead of numbers. Although the second part is a big reason for scattered, it is the hidden main line. As they passed away, more people like them flock in, faceless, always existed. This is really sad. They were the stepping stones of the times, the pioneers of the times, and the indispensable roles of the whole story. With this in mind, I abandoned the more sorrowful and shocking ending. After all, this one is called The Faceless People. The best time of the worst era are reversed. Is it reversed? Doesn't look right. And echoed, which I can express my desire very well and powerfully. The times in advance, merciless and helpless, but there are countless faceless people lying under their feet. The title of the 3rd volume will have so many symbolic meanings because the main line is very clear and direct. Well, the name of the 3rd volume is Traveler. Looking at the meaning of the text, everyone should be able to imagine something, but we will still focus on the second part. There are many things in Backlund that haven't been collected, such as Snake of Mercury, such as the underground evil spirit, such as the royal family's real plot, such as 0-17, such as vampires, such as psychology alchemists. This is because we need to give opportunities to Audrey, Forrest, Shio, and Emlyn in Backlund to show themselves, and because Backlund is the most important stage of the whole novel. Xiaoke will definitely come back and stay for a long time. The 2nd volume said that it was scattered, in fact, that a lot of things were strung together. It was fine for me. Scattered but attractive writing is not bad. The real problem is another point. That is, the rhythm of the story has been relatively tense and tight, not relaxed. In other words, it is constantly encountering events and solving problems. It long lacks enough and easy access in the middle, and it's a bit tired and irritating. Although this leads to special characteristics, aggregation effect, it does have some problems from the setting. The problem is the Tarot Club will be held once a week, so the timeline will be cut into week after week. It is easy to feel repetitive and inflexible. It is also necessary to keep certain events in each week. Therefore, the rhythm of extraordinary events will somewhat tight, and the solution I am currently considering is to skip some less important tarot meetings and be more free in time and control. Of course, the Tarot Club itself is also a main body, and it will definitely not be less for the first time since Emlyn joined. I have not forgotten that there are many friends who mention various things, such as the church's reaction, such as another bronze whistle. I remember all of them, but deliberately pressed not to write them and prepared to leave them until the beginning of the 3rd volume. This is not to let the trivial... So I'm assuming he got backlash for the 2nd volume. That's kind of what I am getting. And there should be music. It might be a little quiet. Do you hear it now? I just put on something chill as I was reading this. The problem is that there's not to let the trivial things dilute or destroy the overall picture, feeling and emotional of 2 pieces, so we can only carry out certain tactical processing. When the 2nd volume was finished, I am very glad to see that the roles have been set up one by one, which makes everyone like it. It's not impossible to use 0-17 to end with violence. On the one hand, it's still awesome to write about the church, which can be the ruling class, which can be the ruling class for so long, not without reason. On the other hand, it is not the ending itself. It is just the continuation, a link between the preceding and the following, pointing to some subsequent things. Let's not talk about it in detail as not to be a spoiler. Thank you. Finally, when finishing the novel, I wrote a novel. I am more and more pursuing simplicity and puncturing. That is to say, what I can be described accurately with the easiest and simplest words is to try not to give a long speech, not to fill it with gorgeous things, not to accumulate emotion. Step by the most calm and objective white description. As the most appropriate time, pierce the barrier with the most precise and simple language, and pierce the softest place in your heart. Now, although there are still many problems, there's just on the way. Oh my god, there's so much here. Of course, the characteristics of online writing are doomed. I can only do it in the most important and needed chapters. It is impossible to write it in every chapter. A lot of things can only be repaired when I'm old and free. In general, I have a lot of vocabulary, but all of them are unfamiliar. After all, they are accumulated step by step and are useless. That is to say, when code words are used habitually, they are used in the last commonly used in the brain. So the problem of repeated words is hard to avoid. Where was I? Now, although there are still many problems, there's just one way. Also, similar to the problems of misusing some adjectives, is the present and clearest, most intuitive, and most important pictures in my head. So I try to create some words, but I still need to explore and improve. The above is the tactical summary of the second volume. Writing is a very hard and torturous thing, but when I write it out, I praise, pleasant, especially happy and satisfied. Recently, everyone praised me for being full of enthusiasm. Gentlemen, I like to write novels. I like to tell you stories. I like to create plump characters one by one. I like to show you an interesting and novel world. Writing novels is really a joy. Well, it's a mystery that today the high-end subscription of Peer Standing platform is $53,000, but it's all over 41. But after 24-hour subscription is 28,000, and the latest chapters have officially broken through 31,000, which shows that the retention rate is high, which shows that most of the people who have seen are chasing, which shows that you are full of love. Aww. Also, recommended votes have been in the top 15. Monthly ticket have been in the top 5. I'm too lazy to brush any data. Therefore, every ticket, every reward, and every subscription are full of love. Gentlemen, the second volume is over. I want to ask for praise and a monthly ticket, asking for a monthly pass. At the end of the day, according to the convention, we have 2 days off. That is Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesday at 12:30 noon, it's still the same time. The third volume, Traveler, please look forward to it. Done. Beautiful. Perfect. Okay, yeah, because I kind of figured, because I kind of figured there was like some sort of subscription thing, so I was like, there's no way he's writing 800,000 words for free. Like, he could, but I'm like, I don't think so. So, we'll see. Anyway, that was the author's notes. We're gonna get into now the actual reading portion of it. Also, I saw that the factions have been decided. That's super fun. Who's in, like, is everybody sorted out into a different faction? I like sometimes just look over and see, like, do the artwork turn. Look at the artworks. Oh, dude. I'll look sometimes and I'll be like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff going on. Some of the chats are really popping off. Like the stat chat, that one's there's always something going on in there. Perfect. Okay. LOL. Okay, I've got it ready. Got it all set up. Chapter 483, New Identity. Let's get it going. I'm really excited to see kind of where we go, what we do, what happens. I'm so excited. Okay. This volume doesn't seem as big. It still seems like really big. Like it's not small by any means, but it doesn't seem like as big as the first two. Maybe. Okay. Chapter 400. I've been told that a lot of people's favorite volume is volume 3 and volume 4. So, we're gonna see what happens with these ones. Okay, chapter 483, New Identity. The sky was dark outside the window, but it wasn't the dark fog which Klein was used to. The sea waves rolled in, blowing away all the smog and making the clouds line up in various shapes, reflecting the reddish gold sunlight. This is like really bright in my... There you go. That was really bright in my eyes, and I was unable to see properly. Is there lag? There should be. It says I have really good connection. So. No, the song. Okay, before I start, the songs were really good. The songs were really, really good. They definitely like added to the ambiance and the vibe and everything. So, I do have to give you props there. Okay, the sky was dark outside the window, but it wasn't the dark fog which Klein was used to. The sea waves... Oh, he is at the sea! I'm so excited. Blowing away all the smog and making the clouds line up in various shapes, reflecting the reddish gold sunlight. This was Prince Harbor, the largest and busiest port in the Lowen Kingdom. Wearing a light vest and white shirt, Klein stood by the window and watched the outside world for a while until his pocket watch urged him to return to the mahogany table. In the warmth of the fireplace, he picked up the round black fountain pen, unfolded the letter, and slowly wrote. Dear Mr. Azek, forgive me for not writing to you until today, but for the past few days I've been wandering in Backland, immersed in the devastation that has been inflicted on this great city by the events of the past few days. If we were ordinary people, perhaps we would have been covered with white cloth and carried to the crematorium, eventually settling in a tiny niche. I've waited for a while, and I've waited for quite a while and finally found an opportunity to retrieve what belongs to me. This includes the card of blasphemy I promised you. In addition, there's another item which I will get the messenger to bring to you as well. It's a copper whistle that can summon a messenger. It comes from a chance encounter of mine regarding an elder who crawled out of his coffin. I'm sure you're puzzled having read this, as the description I use similarly points to you. This is what puzzles me. This is exactly what happened. I suspected that the original owner of the copper whistle is a member of the numinous episcopate that ties to revive death. Furthermore, his level isn't low. Perhaps you'll be able to tell something from his copper whistle. Before leaving Backland, I will write to the machinery hive mind to describe the massive underground ruin you fought in Zangwell. Hopefully they will be able to figure out the truth, and with the help of this information, after going through a roundabout and indirect test, I've confirmed that they do not have any enmity. Is the N sign. I've seen the word amity towards you and me for the time being. If you're in trouble, perhaps you can try seeking their help. Finally, I have one more question. Is there any way to remove the residual mental corruption? It was not animosity, it was the first one. I'm gonna start making merch of all the miscorrect words that I spell and say. Finally, I have one more question. Is there any way to remove the residual mental corruption of a beyonder characteristic that has already solidified? I am about to set sail. I wish you a smooth journey. I was gonna say, I actually do have dyslexia. That's why I can't read or write. But I don't know. I've lived with it for however many years I've been on this earth, and I'm okay still. It's like 9th grade words. Dude, it's so bad. But you know what? It brings a level of joy and entertainment. What's the small proposal that you have? It's fine. It's funny. If I was actually upset about it, I would say something. I find it funny. You have to laugh at it. I'm a leader of a small faction. You continue that. I'm gonna continue this. I am about to set sail. I wish you smooth journey. Also, hi Wiz. I wish you smooth journey in finding your memories and safe journey for myself as well. Your student and friend, Klein Moretti. No, the new name hasn't been revealed. Oh wait, maybe it has. He went by his old name, like his. You're gonna hurt me. Can Easy also not read? I think his name was revealed. It's like his actual name that he uses in this world, right? Or is it something else? Oh, he has a new name. Okay. Putting down the pen and reading it once more, Klein folded the letter and stuffed it back into the envelope, along with the Black Emperor card and the copper whistle left behind by the suspected numerous Episcopate member. When he was done, he picked up the copper whistle Mr. Azek had given him and summoned the messenger by blowing into it. The messenger was still nearly 4 meters tall, made purely of white bones, its eye sockets burning with black fire. However, Klein's spiritual intuition told him that this was another messenger. Sighing secretly, Klein raised his arm and placed the letter into Messenger's lower palm. The messenger lowered his head and to take a look before quickly disintegrating into bones and drilled into the ground like a torrential downpour. Seeing this, Klein lightly tapped his right molar and deactivated his spirit vision. He turned his gaze to the table where there was a pale yellow identification card. This was the necessary item required for official purchases of any voyage tickets. For this, he had specially gone to Sharon and obtained a new identity through her circle. The identity was that of a bounty hunter, a lunatic who was eager to go on adventure at sea to get rich. In accordance with Klein's wishes, his name was Jermaine Sparrow. Oh! So, okay, because I have seen this name everywhere. Everywhere. I have seen this name everywhere. I thought it was like a new tarot club member or something. That's a dope ass name. That's such a good name. I don't want to say it again. I don't want to say it again. Jermaine. I said it right. Jermaine? I'm gonna look it up. Someone send her the phone. I'm gonna look it up. Jermaine. I know. I'm not saying Jermaine. I'm saying Germaine. At the beginning. Wait, but instead of J, it sounds like G. So it's Jermaine? Yeah, Germaine. Germaine? German? He said instead of a J. I'm not saying a J! You're fucking with me. You're fucking with me right now. I'm done. I'm done. Anyway. A hunter of evil, Klein whispered, putting away a series of Okay, I'm looking up a video really quick. Give me a minute. How do I spell it? Okay. I'm gonna... Okay, what I found is... Here it is. One sec, I found the video. Give me 1 second. Okay, you have it? Okay. Whoa, what is it? Hold up. Pause.
Joins the Gammon joins the tonight. Gammon joins the hunt.
That's how it's... Gammon. Okay. Really cool. I got it. I'm not gonna lie, I actually thought I was gonna have a stroke trying to figure that out. Okay. His name was Gammon Sparrow. I can say Sparrow. Yeah, I got that one. Thanks so much, babe. Got that one. Got that one. Hunter of Evil, Klein whispered, putting away a series of documents for his new identity. Shortly after, it's on the E. I'm gonna say it how I say it, and it's gonna work out. Shortly after he drew the curtains, took 4 steps counterclockwise, and went above the gray fog. There was still some time before the tarot gathering, so Klein quickly retrieved Creeping Hunger and wrote it on his hand. Closing his eyes, he tried to sense each and every twisted, illusory soul. He attempted to release the faceless. In the real world... You know what? Thanks. I do what I can. Closing his eyes, he tried to sense each and every twisted, illusory soul. He attempted to release the faceless. In the real world, Creeping Hunger would happily consume this gift and spit out the corresponding Beyonder characteristic. But above the gray fog, it didn't dare to act rashly. It allowed the soul of the faceless to leave the glove and appear to the side of the long bronze table. It was a middle-aged man with a blurry face. His twisted and painful feelings seemed to dissipate quite a bit. With difficulty, he bowed at Klein, who was leaning back in his chair. His figure gradually turned dim, almost plummeting beneath the gray fog at any moment. In the majestic place, Klein could directly communicate without any additional rituals. Prepared, thus he extended his spirituality and stabilized the man before saying in a low voice, "Do you know where there are live mermaids?" The man the man answered in an adrift manner, "Apart from those kept by the Church of Evernight, they can only be found by sailing from the Gargus archipelago towards the Sonia Sea for at least a week. That was my destination." He's also a faceless seeking to advance. In order to seek out mermaids, he has taken the risk to go out to sea. However, he somehow died at the hands of Vice Admiral Hurricane Kalangos. In the end, the Church of the Goddess rears quite a number of mermaids. Klein suddenly asked in realization, "Which organization did you belong to? Or should I say, where did your potion formula come from?" The blurry-faced, middle-aged man's body suddenly trembled. It was only 2 seconds later that he spoke up. "The Secret Order. I belong to the Secret Order." "The Secret Order? Doesn't the Secret Order rear their own mermaids?" Klein hesitated for a moment before asking, "Have you ever seen your leader, Zuratil?" The illusory and transparent faceless was silent at first, but then he shouted with a sharp voice, "I have. He's an abnormal. He's an undying monster." As he spoke, his finger became increasingly thin, almost on the verge of dissipating. As expected, Zuratil is still alive, just what had happened for a Secret Order member to be so afraid of him. More accurately, I should use him. Klein quickly asked about another key issue, apart from the treasures left behind by the Antigonus family, and what your Secret Order has. Is there anywhere I can get the high sequence beyond a formula for the seer pathway? The faceless turned increasingly transparent and more illusory. He finally left the words, "The Church of Evernight, Cathedral of Serenity, the Holy Cathedral." Klein silently watched as the faceless spirit body achieved complete liberation as he repeated the words. The Cathedral of Serenity was the headquarters of the Church of Evernight, also known as the Holy Cathedral, according to the Nighthawks. There really are high sequence potion formulas of the seer pathway hidden there. I wonder how many secrets of various churches have kept buried and hidden. Sighing, Klein let the dark green glue-like substance that had formed on the surface of the glove slide onto the surface of the long bronze table. The faceless beyond her characteristics eventually formed a jelly-like translucent object. In the dark green background from time to time, there were different faces emerging like shadows hidden beneath dark curtains. Klein took a few looks before nodding indiscernibly. He mumbled to himself, "It'll use this world later and get Mr. Hangman to sell this beyond a characteristic. Either to artisans or beyonders who need it." Although he had found a flaw in the official beyonders' surveillance of 15 Min Street by means of divination above the grey fog, he didn't return there so as to not provoke them or expose the secrets of his spirit body instead. He spent extra money to buy a change of clothes and other daily necessities. All of that amounted to £12. Together with the £8 paid for by the documents of his new identity, his wallet was so empty that there was almost no need for it to exist. As for the 10% stake in the bike company, Klein found an opportunity to meet with Isengard Stanton and signed a legal agreement to entrust the matter to him. After all, their relationship wasn't a secret in the eyes of the Nighthawks or Mercenary hive mind. "I still have £5 in cash and 5 gold coins. It will cost £4 to head off the Rorstead archipelago, and that's for a third-class ticket at the lower deck." Damn, Klein is broke. It would take at least £4 to go from the Rorstead archipelago to the Gargus archipelago. I have to quickly sell off the faces beyond a characteristic. This way I wouldn't be able to afford a second-class cabin and eat decent food. Thanks to Emlin's suitcase being placed above the gray fog all this time, I've had to buy another one. Klein silently went through his financial situation, feeling as if he had returned to the time when he had just transmigrated, relying on the salary of the Nighthawks before he could even buy a suit. In Sequence 6, beyond her characteristic varies between 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. If I encounter someone in desperate need for it, then I can be sold at a premium. But apart from maintaining my living expenses, I have to consider the cost of the marionetta supplement ingredients. I also have to consider the cost of the ritual needed to eliminate the mental corruption. Klein sighed and took out his pocket watch to take a look at it. Klein, seeing that it was about time, he sent a message to little son to prepare for the gathering. We get a gathering! Okay, here's the thing. Honestly, I kind of love Broke Klein. I kind of missed him from Volume 1. When he had to choose between getting butter and, paying for like a carriage home. 4's visions turned clear as she saw 3 figures sitting across the long molten table. A new member, what a thought. She quickly settled down. At this moment, she didn't care if the Tarot Club had any new members. Her mind was filled with the incident of the smog and plague from last week. She vividly remembered that the world had warned herself and Miss Justice at the last gathering that something huge was brewing in Backland, which could likely bring about tragedy. Mr. Fool had confirmed that the conjecture, and he had further pointed out that the person at the heart of the problem was Prince Edisac. So didn't doubt Mr. Fool's ability and felt that the tragedy needed time to brew, giving her plenty of time to investigate. Who knew that it would come so quickly and so suddenly? Prince Edisac was also reported to have been infected in the haze and unfortunately died. It really happened. Thinking back to the comments of the newspapers from a few days ago, he seemed to understand something but wasn't sure of it. For a moment, she felt terrified and uneasy. We're gonna see how many we get through. Between 5 and 10. If stuff starts bugging out, we'll do 5. If we can get to 10, I'd love to get to 10 chapters. It was just, yesterday's stream was so long. So long. As a sequence 9, it seems to have become involved with terrifying matters that involved a huge city, a prince, and tens of thousands of lives just because I'm a member of the Tarot Club. It was only at this moment that the magician 4s realized the importance of being a member of the Tarot Club. Then she heard, it was a pretty good stream. I'm happy you guys liked it. She heard Miss Justice's usual greetings that lacked her exuberance. Good afternoon, Mr. Fool. You saved Backland again. What? When was I saved again? The moon Emlyn listened blankly. Oh yeah, Emlyn is about to get massive lore drop and information because he knows nothing. So he's about to get so much from the tarot. Okay. The new... I need to lock in here for a sec. Chapter 484. Asymmetrical. As he thought back to the recent events, the moon Emlyn was quick to associate it with the Great Smog and the plague outbreak, guessing that this was what the lady opposite him was referring to. But I heard that it was the work of the demoness of despair who was trying to advance herself. Furthermore, the Church of Storms responded quickly, creating a hurricane to blow everything away. How could it be said that the fool saved Backland? Emlyn, who had an entire clan behind him, was quite well informed. Upon doing the comparison, it was hard for him not to be surprised and confused. Although he had always been proud and didn't wish to spend time on social interactions, he still felt an instinctive fear when faced with the hidden experience that he had to address with he didn't dare to open his mouth and asked and decided to listen for a while. Alger, even though he was drifting out to sea, had received news of a great smog in Backland. He was interested in the secrets and the truth behind it, confident in the belief that this was definitely a struggle between deities. After all, it had attracted the attention of Mr. Fool. I love reading about Klein in the chapter before, living off of 4 pence and just a will to survive. And then we go to the tarot club and he's just getting maximum glaze by everyone. Alger, even though he was drifting out to sea, had received news of a great smog in Backland. I'll ask Miss Justice where we exchange information, however, she might not be too sure of the details. It's rather impossible for her to know too many details based on her standing. She has a great curiosity to open up with with a greeting. She would definitely attempt to get an answer from Mr. Fool, hoping to get an answer. I hope that I have an opportunity to listen from the side with this in mind. Alger turned his head to look at the sun. Seeing how he wasn't anxious but calm and reserved, he knew that the City of Silver's exploratory team had already broken out from the fate of repeating their lives. Similarly, Audrey, who had figured out that the operation was successful from reading Little Sun's reaction, heaved a secret sigh of relief. She prepared herself to understand what had happened later in detail. After a solemn bow towards Mr. Fool, she thanked the seemingly unkind Tarot Club member, the World, for his advance warning. Mr. World, if it wasn't for your advance warning, then perhaps tens of thousands of people would have died in Backland during the Great... Then perhaps tens of thousands of people did die in the Great Smog of Backland. Does she mean like more people? In truth, it was also, or does she just mean rich people? In truth, I was also doing it to save myself. Klein controlled the world to give him a hoarse laugh. Tens of thousands more. Okay. He said it with sincerity and without any trace of acting, because if it wasn't for Miss Justice, who was notified in advance and warned the Church of Evernight that the powerful existence who erased Mr. A would have arrived in time, and he himself might have not have been able to hold on for long. If Mr. A had disintegrated me and ate me, then perhaps I might not have had the chance of reviving Klein through an appreciation. Mr. A's feasting would have literally been feasting. Immediately after, as the Fool, he leaned back in his chair and responded with a smile. All I did was provide some trivial help. No, your blessed really saved Backland. His contribution is the greatest amongst everyone. Audrey praised him from the bottom of her heart. His warning allowed the goddess to the Church of Evernight to make preparations. Whipping out the demoness of despair in a timely manner and preventing the primordial demoness from awaking, it allowed the contamination of the Great Smog to keep under control. Furthermore, he even destroyed the Royal Order's ritual, preventing the attempt descent on the true creators once again, keeping him at bay from the real world. Audrey received unanimous praise by Earl Hall and his wife for providing the most important information. They hadn't concealed the result of the investigation and some of the details they had gathered from her. Of course, they also raised their wish as parents that the daughter wasn't to get too involved with the secret organization. It would be enough if she stayed in the outer circle and gathered some information to maintain her strength below that of a Sequence 7. The primordial demoness awaking, the true creator's attempt to descend, what exactly happened in Backland. At the same time, Alger and Emlyn had the same reaction, but their expressions were different. The former only slightly raised his eyelids as the pupils contracted, unconsciously sitting to the side a bit, while the latter gave the illusion that he was about to jump up. Mother, no, esteemed moon, when did Backland become so dangerous? Two evil gods had actually made their appearance during the Great Smog. Damn. Is that young lady lying? Even though Mr. Fool is in existence suspected of being a deity, it's also impossible that he would simultaneously offend two deities at the same level, right? Could it be that he is actually the incarnation of the true God, or is there an alliance of deities behind him? Is that why the ancestor asked me to pray to him? The more Emlyn thought about it, the faster his heart beat, but it was impossible for him to receive verification. The fact the Sanguine had a nickname vampire didn't mean that they didn't have a heartbeat. It was just that theirs was relatively slow, and the heart itself was one of a sanguine's fatal weakness. Indeed, it is an event that had attracted the attention of Mr. Fool, but what beliefs could he gain from sabotaging an evil god's plans? Alger sighed inwardly. Forbes was surprised and frightened. She didn't expect that the horrible great smog that had taken the lives of tens of thousands of people would conceal an even more horrifying truth. If it hadn't been stopped in time, the whole of Backland would have been destroyed, and Geo and I wouldn't have survived. Forrest swallowed a mouthful of saliva hard. Her feelings were similar to Audrey, feelings as well though this matter, this young noble lady clearly understood one thing, which was that the life she had believed to be peaceful and calm was like a soap bubble amidst the clash between deities. Just a slightly perturbation could immediately pop into nothingness, or it could be said that the entire kingdom, the entire human society exists only because of the balance between the deities, and this balance is extremely fragile. Every time a similar thought gushed in her mind, Audrey felt a wave of grief wash over her. Klein was pleased when he saw that someone knew and remembered his contribution. He smiled and said, "Unfortunately, he has to stay away from Backland as a result." "Mr. Fool's blessed has to temporarily leave Backland." Audrey stood up again and sincerely bowed. "Please convey my gratitude to him." Klein maintained his image without giving a reply other than nodding his head. At this moment, Audrey added, "I'm very sorry, as the 3 churches and the military are cleaning up Backland, I was unable to get the follow pages to Roselle's diary. Please wait 1 more week." "Sure," Klein said in a flat tone. Hearing the conversation, Forrest was startled as she hurriedly looked to the end of the long bronze table and said, "Honorable Mr. Fool, I received 3 pages." "Yes! We gettin' Roselle lore! Not bad. More members means more channels, and many things snowball quickly." Klein gently nodded. "Very good. Roselle's diary." Emlyn felt as if he had heard something extraordinary again. Under his puzzled gaze, Forrest conjured 3 pages of the diary and passed them on to Mr. Fool. Only then did Klein remember that he had missed introducing a particular vampire. Smiling, he introduced, "This is the new member, Mr. Fool." He just kind of forgot. He's like, "Hey, this guy right here, he's here now." Only then did Klein remember. "The gathering is called the Tarot Club. They are Mr. Moon. I thought it would be a lady who would choose the moon." Audrey greeted politely while her thoughts scattered. Similarly, Emlyn wondered whether the members such as the Hangman and Justice were humans or transcendent creatures, which pathways they were from, it was sequenced from which organization, or if they were friendly to the Sanguine. Klein, Lord of Mysteries, it's the... What did I do? What did I do wrong? Klein didn't care about them sizing each other up as he cast his gaze to the diary entries in his hands. 11th February today. I found out about a secret of the Sauron family. Haha, I'm going to die from laughter. So it turns out that the hunter pathway that they possess will change gender at sequence 4. Another... No way! Okay. At sequence 4, men wouldn't change, but women will change into men. Oh, I said Mr. Fool instead of Mr. Moon. Accident. They both have a double O in the end. Or not in the end. They both have a double O in the middle. So, common mistake. Man would change. No way. Another, but this one is gonna, okay. Do we know anybody a part of the Femboy pathway goes? Or do we know anybody in the hunter pathway? No. Is Fours in the hunter? No, she's not in the hunter pathway. We will, okay. High sequence beyonders of the Sauron family that I'm aware are all female. The iron-blooded knight is indeed a true man. If it wasn't for how sensitive this secret was, then I would even feel like ridiculing Florin next time. The Sauron family ancestor that he might look like might have been a woman. That's crazy. This potion is way too much of a trap, isn't it? I hope that the savant pathway wouldn't have any strange changes upon reaching a higher sequence. I don't want one day to suddenly realize that I either don't advance or I have to change into a woman. Wrong pathway, babes. The first thought that flashed into Klein's mind at the end of the diary entry. You know what's funny? Is he doesn't want a potion that advances him or like changes him into a woman, but he probably slept with someone who was in that pathway that changed them into a woman. The first thought that flashed into Klein's mind at the sight of the diary entry was, Emperor, you won't become a woman, but you will do it with a demoness, perhaps more than one. Indeed, there's a pathway that changes women to men. Dude, that's crazy. I didn't see it because it was on the other page. That's so funny. Furthermore, it's within the ones I expected. No, at this point, he might as well go for the hunter pathway as well. I feel like my boy wouldn't discriminate. Hunter represents war, causing women to change genders to sequence 4. This is a little odd. The demoness pathway changes at sequence 7. Hunter daughter and demoness son. Demoness son. I think. Yeah. As long as they're of legal age, you don't discriminate. Well, if I could choose both, I would choose both. This is a little odd. The demoness pathway changes at sequence 7, which it doesn't actually strictly correspond. Klein felt the warped and feeling the madness even more accurately. It was a result of an extreme asymmetry. Could it be that the underlying topic of this world is chaos? Oh, okay, we're getting into something interesting now. Could it be that the underlying topic of this world is chaos, distortion, madness, and asymmetry? He tried his hardest not to frown. The 12th of February, this won't do. I want to laugh whenever... February 12th, this won't do. I want to laugh every time I see Florin. 15th of February, the modified artillery I designed and supervised was completed. The effect was worse than I expected, but the problem isn't that great with it. The mass production. It will be able to show the world what true advanced tactics are. In order to celebrate, I decided to hold a banquet to invite those fellows who look down on me. Just wait to be slapped in the face. The Emperor truly doesn't let a grudge go. While sighing, Klein turned to the second page of the diary. 5th of May was unspeakable organization called for another gathering. That unspeakable organization called for another gathering. I'm struck by the way they gathered their members every time. It's phenomenal. No, a miracle. With my earlier observation, I raised some problems at this gathering. For example, all of the sequence 0 names have high enough level on the blasphemy slate. Only Red Priest appears rather unique. It doesn't sound strong enough. The old gentleman sitting beside me told me that red represents the red of war, and priest can be understood as the ritualist of strength in the core. Someone objected, believing that the priest in the red priest represents being a priest of the creator. I leaned towards the former and asked for the name of the old gentleman in a low voice. I didn't know the identity of every member. To put it in an extreme manner, I only know the portion of them. The old gentleman answered with a smile. He said his name was Hermes. Hermes, like the Hermes who created the language of ancient Hermes. Hermes, the founder of humanity's mysticism. That's crazy. Despair, to put it in lightly. Despair. Crazy. Chapter 485, Rich Information. Crazy. No, we are getting some rich information right now, which is I'm really loving. Hermes, that is an ancient powerhouse. Klein frowned slightly. With his solid knowledge of mysticism, he was well aware of the era in which the old gentleman who had created the language of ancient Hermes had been active. This was during the second epoch when the giants ruled the land and the dragon soared through the skies. In a particular scene, he appeared before the god of combat. Pretty important. And the Earth Mother in human history. In other words, even little son who didn't know the 7 gods before joining the Tarot Club would likely know the name Hermes. Yes, I should find a chance to confirm this using the world. There it is. Okay. The old gentleman had personal experience, the period when early humans tested the potions themselves, slowly seeking the thorny path of the powers of the Beyonder. One step at a time, he had used Jotun and Dragonese as blueprints, and standing on the shoulders of the pioneers, he created a Beyonder language that belongs to humans. He probably saw the first blasphemy state. He actually survived until the time of Emperor Roselle, and he might have even been alive until now. Is he still alive? Is he still kicking? This is a living fossil of a human. He reminds me of you guys remember the old lady from SpongeBob that was in the wheelchair and was just like a head and then a face? Or like a head and a body? That's this guy. Klein felt a surge of emotions. On the other hand, he felt the terror of the Twilight Hermit Order. If even had Hermes as one of its members. Where's my chocolate? As for the other secret organization, or even internally to the 7 churches, they will often use ancient Hermes to perform sacrificial rites and rituals. The Twilight Hermit Order is really high-end grand and is really, high and grand, and the high-level Klein couldn't help but sigh inwardly. What he envied most wasn't the experience of the Hermes, a legend who lived through human history among the Twilight Hermit Order, but the fact that they possessed the second blasphemy state. This was simply cheating. Klein sighed at the thought of how the Tarot Club only had 1 out of the 22 cards of blasphemy. He turned his focus back to the paper and continued to read remaining entries of the diary. Wait, go back. Okay, Twilight Hermit was really high and grand in the high level. Klein can help inside and use it. Heavens, the old man sitting next to me who looked so ordinary and nothing special was actually Hermes. He lived from the dark second epoch all the way to the Beyonder decline of the 5th epoch. I made the right choice joining the organization. I can see my bright future. Not using 3 exclamation marks to describe my feelings right now isn't enough. These underlying old bastards are all gathered together because they believe in the opinion that the twilight is approaching. It's definitely not the case. At least I'm not. Wait. The lizard people are really purifying frogs in the water to make they're making the frogs gay. There must be people there among them who passionately believe in those ideals, purely waiting for the original creator to awaken. Hoping for the progress of history to develop to the nodes as predicted. According to my understanding, it's most likely Okay. But there can't be more than half of the people that rest are people having their own goals, either the ambitions like me or they're just lurking snitches. Wait a minute. I thought of a problem. I quickly joined the gathering after I agreed to the secret invasion, but I didn't undergo any scrutiny. And although the person who called for the gathering said that the members of the gathering had their difference and had to vote for me to join, barely allowing me to join after a majority vote of the 2/3, but it's not the point. The point is that they don't care if I believe in the idea that twilight is coming, nor do they mind me having all sorts of thoughts. What they are relying on to determine that I won't bring harm to the organization. Could there be a high sequence beyonder of the spectator pathway among them? One that reaches the level of an angel. He had created a secret psychological cue in me through my verbal promise without me realizing it, and that they're confident enough to discover the hidden malice of its members. That might be possible, but thinking about it makes me shudder. In addition, without permission, once the name of an organization is mentioned to the outside world, it will immediately noticed. They gave me a few examples of former members who were eliminated. Writing on paper or in newly created language wouldn't do as well. Let me think. Sequence 2 of the spectator pathway is discerned, while sequence 1 is author. Who among them fulfills the corresponding traits? Yes, I have a preliminary suspect, the person who convenes the gathering. Yes, there's also sequence 0 of the spectator pathway. Its name is visionary. But I don't believe anyone here has reached the level of a true god, otherwise there's no need to hide behind the scenes. Of course, they might have divined items at the sequence 0 level or the uniqueness of the particular pathway. Perhaps is what creates this realistic dreamscape that can connect the east and west shores of the continent. While having the ability to react the moment its name is mentioned, I didn't think too much into it back then. Amidst my shock, I asked about a few other matters, such as why the term authority is used in the description of deities. Old Mr. Hermes gave an interesting answer. When he saw this, Klein realized that the diary page had already reached its end. He quickly turned the next page, but he quickly turned back because the following page didn't connect to the previous page at all. Where's the answer? Is it on the next page of the original diary? Or was he too lazy to write it because it's too long? Or he felt that there's no need to jot it down in the diary. Klein was so frantic that he wanted to transmigrate and grab Roselle by the neck to get him to tell him what Hermes had said. Of course, he didn't show any signs of emotions on the surface, nor did he make any additional body language. So the spectator pathway's sequence 0 is called visionary. This corresponds well with the dragon of imagination. I thought it would be a dragon. Visionary adheres more to what humans know, which also means that consuming the corresponding sequence 0 potion wouldn't necessarily change one into a dragon. Sequence 1 author, just from the name of the potion, I find it quite similar to that of the quill 0-08's traits. The Twilight Hermit Order's method of summoning its members is realistic dreamscape that connects to eastern and western ends of the continent. The miracle description at the beginning of the diary gave me a fright. I thought they had a gray fog or the mysterious space above the gray fog or the mysterious space above the gray fog as well. Klein calmed his emotions and discovered that the single diary page provided a lot of important information. Yeah, it really did. First of all, he knew that the ancient sage Hermes had at least lived to Roselle's era, which was about 100 or 200 years ago, and he was a member of the mysterious organization. Second, from Roselle's description of how the organization's name could be spoken, he basically confirmed that the mysterious organization is equal to that of the Twilight Hermit Order. Finally, he learned that Sequence 0, Sequence 1, and Sequence 2 names of the Spectator Pathway, although they wouldn't be needed anytime soon, are enriched his accumulated knowledge of mysticism. Perhaps Miss Justice would ask the relevant questions at any time. Her curiosity had always been strong, forcing himself to forget the missing answer. Klein turned to the last page. As he read, Audrey habitually observed the details, and she acutely noticed that the Black Emperor card which Mr. Fool had placed face down along the molten table was missing. He gave it to the blessed to provide the appropriate help, or he exchanged items with some existence. Audrey blinked, trying to guess the reason. She was more inclined to the first theory because without the help of Mr. Fool, his blessed wouldn't necessarily be able to destroy the ritual for the descent of the true creator. It's a pity that Father's unable to see the detail file, otherwise I would know who Mr. Fool's blessed is. He's a man of medium height, dressed in Lowen's most popular double-breasted frock coat, and he had been near Red Rose Manor at the time. I should be able to lock onto a target by using this information as the basis for investigation, but that might anger Mr. Fool. He hasn't permitted me to expose the identity of his blessed. Audrey, don't think too much. Don't be curious. Perhaps you'll meet in the future. Audrey retracted her gaze. At this moment, Klein felt like laughing because of the contents of this last page. 16th of March, my first time attending a noble ball in this world. The young ladies and madams are a lot better than I imagined. In the novels I read, they didn't bathe in the Middle Ages and relied on perfume to mask the disgusting body odor. They would frequently step on feces when they were out and easily smeared their face with things that are laced with poisonous heavy metals. Facts? But that's different here. They love to take baths, have charming perfumes, fair skin, and tight waists. Most of them have pretty good figures. I overcame my nervousness and had a nice chat with the young daughter of the Viscount Darilos. Darilos? We talked about the meritorious deeds of my ancestors, talked about my family's estate, and present aristocratic title. And then she politely mentioned that she wanted to get something to eat. I didn't pay much attention to it at the time, since hitting on clicks needed to be taken slow, but when I went downstairs to take a walk in the garden, I found her in the empty study. Aristocrat. There was an R, it was aristocratic. But thank you. I found her in the empty study. Whoa, hold up. Pause. I went downstairs to take a walk in the garden. I found her in the empty study fucking with my eldest son. For Earl Flores, fuck, this is the first time meeting each other. Is it me, Hong Tao, Roselle, who isn't good looking enough, or am I not entertaining enough? Nice. How realistic. Fortunately, the madams have treated me quite well. I can sense the hidden passion within them. Roselle really wasn't used to the Intis style at first. According to historical records, the Gustav family had been on the decline for several generations, and only their aristocratic title of baron and a little property estate in their names. Take me to Intis. This lasted until Roselle made his fortune. I didn't expect that emperor to have a woman snatched away. Wait, I remember Roselle mentioning in his diary that he had done it with pause. Oh my god. Okay. They really do be wilding down in Intis. Okay, I didn't expect that the emperor to have a woman snatched away. Wait, I remember Roselle mentioning that in his diary that he had done it with countless floras. Impressive. Klein looked down at the 2 remaining diary entries. They were of no value and were accounts of Roselle's life in the manor. The entire content was him wanting to hunt, him missing of delicacy, as well as his hopes of obtaining beyond her power and beautiful maidservants. Roselle, you dog. You dirty dog. Klein leaned back a little, allowing the diary pages to disappear from his hands and said with a smile, "You may begin." Audrey immediately looked at the sun diagonally across from her. "Have you extracted yourself from the cycle?" Derek nodded honestly first before bowing towards the end of the bronze table. "Honorable Mr. Fool, thank you for guidance, and it allowed me to find the key point of the Angel of Fate on the mural with the words Rose Redemption. It aided in the chief in destroying the repeated cycle of fate." What Angel of Fate? I don't know anything. I love the dynamic because they're like, oh, Mr. Fool wanted me to figure it out for myself. No, Mr. Fool also didn't know. He was not aware of it. What Angel of Fate? I don't know anything. The very puzzled fool, Klein replied with a smile. Not bad. Chapter 486, Klein's Conjectures. What did I say? Oh my god. Lovely. Klein's conjectured. Emily was similarly confused. Words like Rose Redemption, Angel of Fate, and destroying the repeated cycle of fate were beyond his understanding. He only felt that he could understand every word, but he had no idea what they meant when placed together. Could it be that the young son had just escaped the pursuit of an angel? Emlyn guessed from the small amount of information he could understand. After Derek thanked Mr. Fool, the hangman shifted his position slightly. He leaned slightly towards him and kicked off. Oh my god, I lost it. And kicked off from Miss Justice's question. He said in a normal tone, what was the exact sequence of events? Derek didn't hide anything and honestly replied, Miss Justice, Mr. Hangman, Miss Magician, and Miss World, thank you for your concern and thank you for the suggestions you previously gave me. In the sixth exploration I tried, he described his actions and the corresponding result, highlighting the matter that the little boy Jack came to the Enmit Harbor and the details of the Rose Redemption murals. Enmit Harbor, that strange little boy Jack is really from the Lowen Kingdom. In other words, the Forsaken Land of God, where the City of Silver is somehow connected to the northern and southern continent in some way. As long as one finds the right place, they'll be able to enter. Klein seemed to be listening leisurely. Go there, Klein. Go there. They'll be able to, after you make a pit stop at Intis. Stop at Intis. Head on Lowen Kingdom, Intis, spend a fun little weekend there, tell me all about it. City of Silver is somehow connected to the northern. As long as you find the right place, they'll be able to enter. Klein seemed to be listening leisurely, but he had made a judgment in his mind. Enmit Harbor was located to the east of Tingen City and was one of the most famous seaports in the central region of the Lowen Kingdom. Together with Pritz Harbor to the south, they supported the resupply more than half of Backlund's goods. The spirit medium, Ma'am Daly, had once settled there, and Mr. Z of the Roar Order seemed to be there as well. Klein recalled something from the past. The same judgment also appeared in the towards this. Some of them had pure excitement, others filled with curiosity and worry, fearing that all-consuming darkness around the City of Silver would continue to spread, eventually enveloping both the northern and southern continent and the 5 seas. The chief told me that he recalled some unverified. How did I get unnerving? Unverified content recorded in some ancient books, based on matters that had happened and my warning. Rumor has it that when the Lord of everything created the omnipotent and omniscient God, he had his attentions on the piece of land. He had several... And there were 8 leaders of angels. Oh, wait, here it is. Okay. Rumor has it the Lord. Okay. He had several angels surrounding him, and there were 8 leaders of the angels, powerful beings that were closest to God, throned among them, including the Son of God. What do you mean, the Son of God? The Son of God. Derek recalled Demon Hunter Colin's words and slowly said he suspected that Amon is an angel of time among the king of angels, and the mural depicted the angel of fate, tall devourer Ouroboros. 8 kings of angels who are closest to the Creator's throne. Audrey was inexplicably okay. There you go. Audrey was inexplicably excited when he heard this. She couldn't help but curiously ask, Mr. Sun, what are the titles of the other 6 kings of angels and their names? The chief didn't say, nor did I dare ask. Derek replied, ashamed. I really want to know the answer. Audrey subconsciously looked towards the end of the long bronze table, looking longingly at Mr. Fool, who was shrouded in gray fog, hoping to get the appropriate answer. You ain't gonna get it from him. I really want to know the answer. She had already decided on the price she was willing to pay. Why are you looking at me? I don't know either. Klein controlled the twitching of the corners of his mouth. Of course, he wasn't completely clueless. He could barely guess who 2 of the king of angels were. The evil spirits in the underground ruin had described the Medici family as one of the founders of the Rose Redemption. According to the mural, the angel of fate, Ouroboros, is likely one of the leaders of the Rose Redemption. Both basically have equivalent standing, which is to say that the Medici family possesses a king of angels, but it cannot be determined if he has already persisted. The Medici family is suspected to be in control of the Hunter pathway, which is the Red Priestess pathway. The king of angels title should be a Red Angel or War Angel. Since the Son of God is the King of angels, Amon is one of them. Being Angel of Time, then Adam might not be one, but can't confirm his title. As for the other 4 kings of angels, I can guess who they are. Perhaps there might be one or a few of them inside the Twilight Hermit Order. It's possible the Twilight Hermit Order views the fallen creator as its enemy, making it at odds against the Rose Redemption, which worship the evil god. Perhaps the true origin comes from those few kings of angels. Right, there's indirect evidence which isn't substantial enough. According to the legend of the City of Silver, the authority of the dragon, imagination, and Kilwelt was taken back by the Creator. Logically speaking, it's not impossible for the Lord that created everything to give a portion of the authority to the King of Angels. Okay. By his throne, and from the description of and guesses from Roselle's diary, the Twilight Hermit Order likely has a spectator which has the strength at the level of an angel in the visionary pathway or even higher. The 2 can form a correspondence. Hermes is a person who has experienced that piece of history. As these thoughts flashed through his mind, Klein smiled and said, You will come into contact with it in the future. When I figure it out, I will sell you the appropriate information, he added demurely. Seeing that Mr. Fool had no intention of answering, Audrey looked away with a single sense of lost mourning little son to continue his story. Alger had a bold idea. The history before the Cataclysm had no longer been referenced at the end of the 3rd epoch and the beginning of the 4th epoch. There are only the 6 Orthodox gods. Together with Amon and the Tail Devourer, aren't there 8? There had benefited from the death of the Creator and the succeeded in advancing to sequence 0. For a moment, Alger felt that his thoughts were blasphemous, actions that could be punished by fire. But he was also unable to contain his excitement. He finally calmed down and concentrated on listening to little son tell his story. Towards all of this, Emlyn could only respond with a blank look. Fair, Emlyn, me too. Although the Sanguine had a long history and lifespan, so they knew quite a bit about history before the cataclysm. There was all concentrated before the ancestor fell asleep, and it didn't involve the so-called King of Angels. Oh no. Oh no. I've lost it all. It's all gone. There you go. I was really scared. I was really scared for a second there. I was really scared for a second there. Although the Sanguine had a long history and lifespan, involved the so-called King of Angels, while Derek was recounting the details of how the City of Silver Chief Colin destroyed the repeated cycles of fate, Klein was thinking of another matter. It can be roughly confirmed that the tail devourer Ouroboros is a Sequence 1 snake of Mercury of the monster pathway. All of the King of Angels corresponded to Sequence 1s. Could that angel of fate be the one pursuing Will Septon? If he is, that means the true creator's forces in Backlund aren't limited to Mr. A and his subordinates. However, the two snakes of Mercury are fighting for the position of Sequence 0, to the point of draining all of the Tail Devourer's strength. He should be fully occupied and cannot spare time for this. Of course, I can't eliminate the possibility that Will Septon is equivalent to the Ouroboros. However, the chances aren't high. Rose Redemption has quite a number of demigods, even angels. There's no need to let the Tail Devourer restart his life as an ordinary person without protection. There's another possibility. The two snakes of Mercury and Backlund aren't the angels of fate. The latter is still active in the Forsaken Land of God. That way, all three snakes of Mercury are accounted for. After finishing his recount of how they escaped the cycle, Derek expressed his gratitude once again. As for Audrey and company, despite listening to the repeated events of the second time, it still left them shivering down their bones, filling them with curiosity and fear. This is beyond my knowledge of Beyonder powers. It's all thanks to the help Mr. Fool gave. Audrey secretly praised the Tarot Club master from the bottom of her heart, feeling full of confidence. Even though he doesn't know nothing. Alger and the others had similar thoughts as her, as they thought that the repeated cycle... See, that's okay. I don't know if anybody saw my review. That's what I'm saying. Things are repeating. I don't know if this... I might be crazy. But things are repeating. And they just said... They all thought that the repeated cycles of life were closed to the miracle that could only be destroyed by a deity. I feel like I'm going crazy! No, but there's things that are happening. Fortunately, the master of the Tarot Club was a deity. Mr. Fool was a deity. No, see, okay. I'm onto something. I know I'm onto something. I know that I'm figuring something out. And I know I am, and it's right there. It's right there, and I've almost got it. There's things that are happening, and at that moment, Derek looked opposite him and sincerely said, "Miss Magician, due to some unexpected circumstances on our return to the City of Silver, despite it having been succumbed..." Dude, the ravings are in here. They're in here. I'm going crazy. Despite it having been resolved, we have slowed down. It will prevent us from returning to the City of Silver on time. Your spirit eater stomach pouch will require another day or two. Yes, I believe I am no longer under surveillance. No problem, I can wait. I've prepared enough gold, Forrest said as she let out a sigh. She had sold the mirror dragon's eyes to Miss Justice and had received £1,000 in cash. After informing the teacher, Dorian of the exact results, her honesty had been praised and approved. Dorian told her that the £800 offer had been made in order to give her about £100 in labor fees, such as the extra £200 would be a bonus for her. In other words, she earned £300. Together with her original savings, she now had a total of £650, which was enough to buy the stomach pouch of a spirit eater. With this, Dorian trusted her a lot to reveal a lot of information regarding ingredients. It will take me at least 2 weeks to digest the rest of the potion. I'm not in a hurry. Looking diagonally across the table, Forrest said, Mr. Hangman, there's news of the dragon-eyed sea condor you required. £2,200. Dorian had given a reference price of £2,000 on the one hand. Forrest had allowed room for bargaining on the other hand, wished to earn a little more. £2,200. Alger couldn't help but frown. His financial situation wasn't looking good after he purchased the Windblast potion formula. Although he still had some secret savings, they were either of use elsewhere or he hadn't been able to find a buyer in a long time. Phew, he secretly let out a sigh and calmly said, very well, but I'll need some time to collect the funds. In addition, yours are too expensive. I have many channels to get cheaper ones. £1,900 is the highest price I can accept. No, £2,000, that's the bottom line, Forrest replied without hesitation. Period. She was afraid that if she made too high an offer, then the other party would give up the deal. Alger immediately nodded. Deal. Forrest was somewhat stunned. After listening by the side and witnessing the conclusion of the deal, Emlyn thought and eagerly asked, ladies and gentlemen, does anyone know how a sanguine can improve their strength without relying on bestowments of an elder? As soon as he finished speaking, he felt numerous gazes land on him. Sanguine, is that the vampire of legends? Audrey's eyes sparkled as she studied Mr. Moon, and as a novelist, Forrest no doubt had all sorts of beautiful or exotic fantasies of a sanguine, and her eyes were just as bright. Sanguine, Alger was taken aback at first, but he soon relaxed his brows. A vampire hiding in darkness, covers in pus while moving like the wind. Derek couldn't help but look sideways to size up Emlyn. Sanguine, the world was late, but the second before giving a normal, necessary response. Chapter 487. Not Klein's conjectures, Dara's conjectures, because I feel like I'm losing my mind. Ha 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 ha. All the time losing my mind. The moment he was being stared at, Emlyn was momentarily at a loss, vaguely aware that he had asked something he shouldn't have. Why are you looking at me like that? Can't I have a sanguine friend? Should I try to explain? No, what's wrong with being a sanguine? Am I a sanguine? There's wrong that admitting that. Us sanguine have a long history, long lives, and rich heritage. It's a lofty race. None of you are exceptionally amazing either. What was just traded was only a sequence 6 item at best. After a few thoughts, Emlyn White raised his chin and proudly added, yes, I am a pure sanguine. No one asked him if he was. Mr. Moon is lacking some self-confidence, which resulted in him reacting a little excessively. Audrey read Emlyn's performance. He's really a sanguine. Forrest asked out of curiosity. Mr. Moon, do you sanguine mimic humans and give aristocratic titles like Duke, Viscount, Earl, and Baron to label different powerhouses of different standing? No, it's you humans who mimic us sanguine. Emlyn sat up straight long before I'm so loving this Emlyn dynamic that we're getting. It's really, really adding to the whole tarot club. Long before the Cataclysm, long before the Second Epoch, our Sanguine already had these aristocratic titles. Those who have yet to fully control their strength are underage sanguine, and as for me, I am considered an adult. Oh, underage sanguine, and as for me, I am considered an adult. Going one step further, one will gain the title of Baron, and the progression leads all the way to Duke. Above Duke would be positions such as Queen and Prince. Back then, you humans were still under the rule of Giant King's court, so it's impossible for you to invent aristocratic titles. The moment his voice fell, that nearly Derek blurted out, "There is no such record in the history of our City of Silver." The categorization of the Sanguine was determined by the appearance of the blasphemy slate. Prior to that, it was very vague and ambiguous. There were only titles such as different family classes, head of leaders and territories, such a top at the ancestor Lilith. After that, it strictly followed the potion system named after the different sequence names. Emily replied scornfully, "The history of our Sanguine was written with our long lives. It's not something that can be overturned by a random record or some small ordinary City of Silver." Wait, they keep mentioning the City of Silver. Where exactly is it? Why haven't I heard of it? After the retort, Emlyn realized that he had apparently overlooked something important. Our City of Silver doesn't make up history. Our records come from ancient books that can be verified, or from the ruins of other cities. Derek emphasized somewhat aggravated. Oh my god. If no, actually, is that why they are like, I know that they're the sun and the moon for like their respective reasons, but this is about to be so good. If no one stops them, then I think they can argue about this matter until the end of the gathering. Although Little Sun is honest, sincere, and reserved, he has a very stubborn and persistent personality. On the other hand, Mr. Moon seems to care especially about the history of the Sanguine. Audrey did her daily observation as telepathist. Dude, what I would kill to be a telepathist in like this situation right here. Just in the room, but in this situation. At that moment, Alger interrupted the discussion between the sun and the moon. "I know how to raise the strength of a sanguine." Emlyn's attention was diverted. "Mr. Hangman, what payment do you need? I can use some of the lost history of our sanguine as an exchange." In front of Derek, you're gonna say that? Alger revealed a smile. "No, we're all members of the Tarot Club. This kind of information exchange is free of charge." Mr. Hangman sure is generous, noble man. Emlyn inwardly made a preliminary assessment. "Thank you for your goodwill." After thinking for 2 seconds, Alger said, "The sanguine can also consume potions to advance, but it has to be in correspondence, the correct type. The various churches have done a certain amount of experimentation." I bet they did. "And the results have proven that this method is feasible. However, I am unable to find out the exact details, but the main ingredient for those potions are from my kinsman." Emlyn denied such a method. The hangman laughed and said, "Never deal with absolutes. For example, I have a clue about the characteristic left behind by the sanguine. Baron, he died in a sudden conflict and didn't have time to find a successor. As for you, you can use the potion method to receive this inheritance and prevent the power of the sanguine from being lost." This item was owed by a great pirate, and that Alger knew, as he didn't know the sequence the potion corresponded to. Hadn't been able to sell it. Even his newly established artisan source wasn't that interested either. Use potions to inherit the inheritance to prevent the sanguine powers from being lost. Emlyn suddenly felt that Mr. Hangman was very reasonable, hence he asked, "What's the price?" Alger chuckled and said, "Between 4,000 and 5,000 pounds? I won't know for sure until I find the owner of it. How about you just sell an arm and a leg instead? How about you just sell my soul at that point?" He had never communicated with the great pirate before, but he believed that as long as the prince wasn't outrageous, the pirate would accept it. To the pirate, selling something would mean profit, as it didn't make much capital. 5,000 pounds, Emlyn exclaimed. "With such a large sum of money, I can buy a few puppets that I've been eyeing for a long time." I love Emlyn! And I can even get some new clothes for my dolls. Ellen's first reaction was to give up such a transaction. However, he thought of the ancestors' favor in him, the glory of the sanguine, and the identity of him being the race survivor. He was momentarily put in a difficult position. Aldred didn't rush him as he said indifferently with a smile, "I know that this is a difficult decision. You can take your time and think about it." "All right," Emlyn breathed a sigh of relief. "Mr. Hangman is really..." Audrey muttered to herself inwardly, turned to the moon, and said to all the members, "Ladies and gentlemen, do you have any news regarding the fruit of the tree of the elders and the blood of the mirror dragon?" "Yes," Emlyn answered without hesitation. He had previously made a fortune due to his particular detective's purchase of Beyonder ingredients. Therefore, at every sanguine gathering, he would pay attention to such information. Without waiting for Miss Justice's exuberant pressing, he continued on. "The price of the fruit of the tree of the elders is between £600 and £700, and the blood of the mirror dragon doesn't exceed £100. I don't remember the exact amount." He quoted her the original price and frankly added, "But you'll have to pay me an extra 50, no £100. As you know, I'll have to take the risk and waste my time." This was what Emlyn learned from Sherlock Moriarty. He felt that this is very good and reasonable because the middleman needed to be paid. Deal. Audrey really happily chose to accept as soon as he finished speaking. She knew, if only Emlyn knew. If only, because I'm wondering at some point, do they find out that it's Klein that is Mr. Fool? And I just want to see Emlyn's reaction to it being revealed that of all people, Sherlock Moriarty, Baby No Moretti himself, is Mr. Fool. To me, the most important thing is to advance to sequence 7. Emperor Roselle once said that any problem that can be solved with money isn't a problem. Put that on a t-shirt. Audrey's recently heavy mood improved. After the New Year's Eve ball, she had received, oh my god, I just saw the number. After the New Year's Eve ball, she had received control over her fortune worth £40,000. She was just needed to hire some accountants and management staff sent by her father. At the same time, At the same time, she received gifts of more than £20,000 in jewelry, horses, hounds, paintings, and etc. Most of them came from her mother. 2 elder brothers and 2 members of the Hall family. Vampire. As for the cash, he didn't have much. It was only £5,000. Jesus Christ. If there was a Bruce Wayne of the Tarot Club, it is Audrey. Like, we can all admit that Audrey funds the Tarot Club, right? She funds the book. Like, she's the only reason this thing's afloat. Her contribution to the Blacklands Great Haze had been turned into Earl Hall's political resources by her own request to keep anonymous, so there was no reward for this. The great aristocratic banker offered to pay for any expensive as Little Angel had the field of mysticism. Of course, Audrey didn't dare reveal her intentions to aim for sequence 7. She could still only use her pocket money and savings. Her pocket money of tens of thousands of dollars. Her pocket money could literally fund a family of 7 for their entire lives and their children's children. Of course, Audrey didn't dare reveal her intention to aim for sequence 7. She still only had her pocket money and savings. Well, I'll be able to pay off my debt to Gleint by this month. Next month I can pay £2,000. To Mr. Fool's blessed, I won't be tight at all. Audrey thought in a good mood. Very rich. Emlyn almost failed to react before asking, puzzled, "How do we complete the deal?" Audrey explained with a faint smile, "By making the sacrifice to Mr. Fool." She was very protective of obtaining the fool's consent, conjuring the corresponding ritual requirements. When Emily received the two goatskin parchments, he stared at them in a daze, and the way they traded was beyond his imagination. Only then did he deeply understand how the Tarot Club was different from a normal secret. Organization. Watching the transaction between the members, Klein was very pleased. This was because with the passage of time, the channels and resources that were open to the Tarot Club would continue to increase. Everyone's goals and items that they wanted would be much simpler to obtain that in the past it would no longer be in the sight of having no response. When making requests, Miss Justice represented the psychology alchemists, the low-end aristocrats, and the power of money. Mr. Hangwen represents the Church of Storms and the resource at sea. Mr. Sun represents the forsaken land of God and the city of silver. Miss Magician represents the low and mid-sequence Beyonders in Backland and the Abraham family. The moon represents the Sanguine, and all of them will perfect the Tarot Club's trading resources and new gathering compatibilities. Damn, Klein really out here playing chess. They're all about to advance. While he was thinking, Klein controlled the world. He said in a hoarse voice, "I have a clue to a characteristic left behind by a psychiatrist. Miss Justice would have any need for it." Klein hadn't chosen to snatch Emily's business because he knew Miss Justice also repaired a pet of the same pathway. He wasn't afraid that there wouldn't be any demand. Of course, Audrey hardly hesitated. Her idea was very simple. If met with an enemy attack, it might not be enough to just rely on herself to provide a surprise. Adding on Susie, who would be even more surprising, it would make things more assuming. Is she gonna advance Susie again? This will take a certain amount of time, perhaps a month or even 2 months, the world added in a low voice. No problem, Audrey was under no psychological pressure. She knew that Susie had finished digesting the telepathist potion. Phew, as long as the deal is closed, I hope I can release the psychiatrist as soon as possible. Miss Justice didn't seem to ask about the price. To her, with the fool's supervision, the price wouldn't be too outrageous. She would accept it as long as it isn't too outrageous. Her finances have improved a lot recently. Klein made the world look at her hangman and give a low chuckle. Are you interested in helping me sell an item? The price isn't less than £3,500. You'll be given a 15% commission fee. Pleasure to work with you. Alger first agreed to it before asking the interest. What is the item? He was rather curious about the world. He felt that the other party knew a lot and had no lack of good things. A characteristic left behind by Beyonder that is equal to a sequence 6. The main purpose is to allow a person to change their appearance and build. There's an addition of powers such as I can't remember. Do they remember that this was actually something that Hurricane Klangos had? Is he gonna remember? Oh wait, I can't remember if they knew. Okay, I'm gonna see. I'll just read on. Of course, the effects that can be produced will depend on the artisan's deed and standard. The world chuckled. Changing appearance and build, I really want it. Audrey and Forrest had the same idea at the same time. The only difference was that the latter was only entertaining the thought, but Audrey opened her mouth and said with a sparkling eye, "Mr. Hangman, can I pre-order the She wanted it already. Can I pre-order the mystical item produced by the artisan using the characteristic, as long as the effect of changing one's appearance remains? Father will definitely agree to me buying a mystical item that has tolerable side effects," Audrey added in an exceptional relaxed manner in her heart. 488. Living expenses. True. Pre-ordering a mystical item, Alger was stunned for a second before he realized. Oh no, go back. before he realized what Miss Justice was talking about. The limits of his mind were widened, and he felt that there was room for exploration. In a particular sense, beyond a characteristic the world had entrusted to me had been sold. There is a definite destination to the item. I can easily simplify the process and make things befit me more easily. That is to say, I don't have to sell it to the artisan again. Instead, I should have chosen to adjust the work. This way, I don't have to worry about whether the characteristic can be sold. I can receive the commission from the world and also obtain more profit from Miss Justice's side. The only capital I need to put up is the fabrication fees for entrusting the job. Of course, I have to consider if the artisan will be willing to promise to take the risk. Many thoughts flashed through the mind as he quickly weighed the pros and cons and finally came to a decision. No problem, I'll take care of the matter. He looked at Miss Justice and felt that she was admitting a blinding light of gold. Emitting a blinding light of gold. Okay, I got it now. Even after joining the Church of Storms, the drifting out to sea for so many years, he had never encountered something like that anywhere else. There was plenty of sea merchants and even more wealthy people, but none of them really didn't care about the money. As Mistress's financial situation improved this extent, Klein was shocked too. Yeah, no, really smart on Alger's part. Like, really, really smart on Alger's part. As Miss Justice's financial situation, for a moment he wanted to speak out to urge her to pay the £2,000 she owed to his blessed as soon as possible, but considering that he had already agreed to Miss Justice postponing her repayment until February or March, he could only keep silent and not ruin his image as the fool. At the very least, the money for the faceless beyond characteristics would be available soon. The speed only depends on how Mr. Hangman contracts the particular artisan and speed at which the courtesan can produce the mystical item. Unfortunately, I can only rely on Mr. Hangman to contact an artisan for the time being. Otherwise, I can directly sell this special characteristic to Miss Justice without having to pay a commission. With this in mind, Klein's mood became mixed. After finalizing a big deal, Alger heaved a silent sigh of relief, feeling his facial situation slowly improve. After thinking for a few seconds, he asked, "Ladies and gentlemen, which one of you has a way or item to make everyone on the board ship sleep at the same time?" The reason why Alger still hasn't gone to that primitive island to hunt down the blue shadow falcon was that he hadn't thought of the method of leaving the Blue Avenger, as well as 10 or so sailors and crew members of the church without gathering any suspicion. Let everyone on a boat fall into a deep sleep. The first thing Klein thought of was a biological poison bottle, but the effect of this thing was completely uncontrollable, so he was afraid that the outcome wouldn't look too good. Then he remembered the nightmare soul in creeping hunger, making people fall into a deep sleep and dragging them into dreams were specialties of this beyonder job. But the problem lies in the fact the nightmare was unable to make that many people fall asleep at the same time. The limit to its influence didn't exceed 10. To satisfy Mr. Hangman's request, it needs to be a sequence 5 of the corresponding pathway, or even that of a demigod. Klein struck down and thought and didn't let the world speak. At the same time, Audrey Forbes and Derek either shook their heads in response or answered with a no. Emlyn tried to recall and said, "Can I help you ask? Perhaps a sanguine have some mystical items that have a similar effect in the calm." Always saying us sanguine. In the future, I can convince him by targeting this angle. Alger noticed that this and nodded with a smile. "I'll have to trouble you." Seeing that the transaction were coming to an end, Klein quickly got the world to bring up his latest necessities. "Everyone help me keep an eye out on the remembrant spirituality of ancient wraiths and pair of eyes from the six-winged gargoyle." Other than that, the supplement ingredients weren't too hard to purchase. He didn't think it was necessary to go through the Tarot Club. "All right." Derek was first to respond, then he added, feeling somewhat embarrassed, "Mr. World, the method of removing the mental corruption from a bionic characters will still require some time. I should be able to advance to sequence 7 soon." With that said, he looked to his side. "Mr. Hangman, once I return to the City of Silver, I'll make the list of commonly seen monsters in the vicinity." He had kept everything he owned, others, and every promise he made without fulfilling them in mind. These plagued him to the point that he couldn't sleep in peace. "No problem," the gloomy world indifferently said. Klein really wasn't in a hurry. He hadn't finished concluding his faceless principles, and his digestion of the potion had only just begun. It would still take several months, therefore his plan wasn't to head straight for the Gargus archipelago. Instead, he would act as an adventurer and traveler as he worked his way through the colonial islands. From time to time, he would change his identity and experience life in order to extract the faceless principles. During this process, he would inquire more about mermaids and details. After knowing that the Church of the Goddess reared such spiritual creatures and that the possessed high sequent potion formula of the seer pathway, Klein kept feeling worried about traps placed against every faceless in the Gargus archipelago who sought advancements. In other words, Klein had to spend 2 or 3 months or more time traveling and adventuring on the Sonia Sea. This long period of time was long enough for the son to obtain a potion formula, gather the corresponding ingredients, and ascend to the sequence 7 solar high priest. With the conclusion of the transaction potion of the gathering, the Tarot Club members entered a period of free communication. Audrey didn't disappoint the hangman's expectations by standing up first and raising the ends of her skirt, bowing towards the end of the long bronze table. Honorable Mr. Fool, I would like to know the hidden truth behind Backlund's great smog. Is it purely the result of... She's standing on business. Is it purely the result of those cultists' bid to awaken the primordial demoness and to allow the true creator's descent? Why did Prince Edisac choose to cooperate with them? According to the principle of equivalent exchange that was set up by you, what do you need to pay in order to obtain irrelevant information? If I knew, things would have been completely resolved now. The experienced Klein maintained his relaxed posture, chuckled, and said, "There's no need. The root of the problem hasn't been discovered yet, but there are enough clues. I hope the members of the 3 churches aren't too stupid. The root of the problem hasn't been discovered yet. Mr. Fool has made his blessed give the churches and the military a certain amount of clues." Audrey was rather shocked when she heard this, but she felt that this wasn't too surprising within her previous concerns and worries. "Thank you for your answer." She sincerely bowed once more. "Is Backlund still in danger?" Ford suddenly felt uneasy. After Miss Justice sat down, Klein controlled the world and chuckled and said, "Mr. Hangman and I discovered the Balin person you mentioned, the Balin who was involved in the escape of many slaves from the colonial islands." The Hangman replied with disbelief. "Yes, reddish-brown skin, the southern continent descent, Backlund accent, and the 3rd tooth on his left fake." The world answered hoarsely, "It should be him." Alger recalled for 2 seconds before saying, "Where is he? What's his present identity? Also, Mr. World, do you wish to receive £100 in cash directly or an item of equivalent worth? This is a mission for the Church of Storms, and purchasing clues was a reimbursement act. Therefore, the Hangman wasn't pressured at all. Of course, money." Klein, who was vexing over his living expenses, controlled the world to say, £100 in cash. "Balin is in Backlund. He was seen meeting a member of MI9 who was loyal to the royal family. I don't know who it was exactly because he was wearing a mask. A member of MI9 who was loyal to the royal family." The Hangman ruminated over the words, and then he remembered Miss Justice's question, why did Prince Edisac work with the Aurora Order and the Demoness sect? It also points to the royal family. Can the 2 cases be one and the same? The truth behind all this involves the disappearance of the slaves. Alger felt that he couldn't vaguely see some key points. "You really are a well-informed and well-connected person. The £100 in cash will be paid tomorrow." Alger calmly said his thanks. The sun laughed and turned to look at the world laughed and turned to look at the sun. "Kid, do you know ancient Hermes?" Derek didn't try to hide anything as he replied honestly, "I've heard of the Hermes language, but the City of Silver doesn't have that kind of knowledge. During the Second Epoch, there was no distinction between Hermes and ancient Hermes. It was only sometime during the 4th Epoch that ancient Hermes was simplified accordingly, making it easier to be used, taught, and disseminated for daily use. However, it no longer had such a strong and direct effect on rituals. That is to say, the Hermes spoken by Little Sung is equivalent to ancient Hermes. There really is a person known as Hermes in the history of the City of Silver." Klein secretly nodded and said, "A pity. I wanted to ask you for a favor." In this moment, Audrey remembered something from the conversation. It was something that originated from the psychology alchemist. She had She had intended to communicate directly, but after looking at the new member, Mr. Moon, she felt that she didn't understand him too well. She raised her hand slightly and said, "Honorable Mr. Fool, I have something to report to you." Klein nodded slightly and isolated the sense of everyone else. "What is it?" he asked in his calm manner. Audrey said honestly, "I got some information by the psychology alchemist. The most important thing is that they were founded after evacuating the ruins of the Hermes. Who was the master who created ancient Hermes?" The ruins of Hermes, the old gentleman was still alive 100 or 200 years ago. Had he deliberately guided the psychological alchemists to discover the relics, and had he persisted in the Roselle incident? Klein was stunned for a moment. After deliberating for a moment, he smiled and reminded her, "Hermes is a member of the Twilight Hermit Order." He didn't mention the Hermes could still be alive because it was impossible to confirm. "Hermes is a member of the Twilight Hermit Order. The psychology alchemist might have something to do with this mysterious organization." Audrey was stunned before she let out a sigh of relief. "Fortunately, I have the Tarot Club and Mr. Fool backing me. Otherwise, I would have no way of knowing and no way to guard against." Once again, she gratefully praised the Fool. At this point, Audrey wanted to confront Miss Justice so that she wouldn't be confront Miss Justice. Klein wanted to oh my god. Klein wanted to confront Miss Justice so that she wouldn't be too distressed and worried about Backland incidents. Maturing didn't mean that she had to give up positive moods and smiles. It wouldn't affect her ability to take things seriously and would instead help her persevere for a long period of time. However, after consideration, in order to maintain his image as the Fool, he had to give up this advice he gained from being a former clown. He then removed the isolation barriers around the other members, waiting for the end of the exchange and for the end of this tarot gathering. Chapter 489, Held Up Suggestions. Awesome. This is going to be the last chapter. I'm going to finish after this one. After another round of conversations, Derek suddenly asked a question. "Honorable Mr. Fool, what kind of hand gesture would we use when we would like to thank..." Why would like to thank you usual? Hand gesture. Klein was momentarily stumped by Littleson's question. It had never occurred to him to intimidate the gesture of drawing a clockwise circle from the Church of the Goddess or the church. Oh yeah, because I guess like they do like that whole thing, and then they just left one's chest and the right one first. It's probably that the last bottom line is fake. Line of a fake god, he lampooned inwardly. Seeing Mr. Fool smile without a word, as though he was waiting for her and others to make suggestions, Audrey suddenly had a lot of inspiration and came up with new questions. Her eyes sparkled as she looked around. She said, "Everyone, should we design a secret gesture to indicate our identity? Our tarot club doesn't have many members at present, so there's no need to worry about us appearing in the same spot and ending up opposite each other due to various reasons, but in future it might be very difficult to avoid that. We need to set up a unique signal so that as to identify friend from foe. I have an idea for that." Klein suddenly remembered that secret hand gesture he knew from his previous life, such as the hand in waistcoats. Just as he was about to manipulate the world to make his suggestion, the hangman opened his mouth. "No, Miss Justice, I don't think it's a good idea. Compared to other secret organizations, our tarot club's most striking character is that the members do not know each other. Even if let me raise an extreme example. Even if one of our members are captured and interrogated, they wouldn't be able to affect the others unless there's someone who can resist Mr. Fool and enter this place directly. There is one person, and that is clearly impossible. Once we have a full set of signals and passcodes, traders can allow the opposing faction to use these means to fish us out one by one. Are you that eager to flaunt your identities as tarot club members?" Audrey temporarily failed to provide a rejoinder as she stammered, "But it's reasonable to worry about the situation you mentioned, but this can be avoided through our fixed interaction every week and creating a temporary gesture ahead of time, as well as praying to Mr. Fool. In consideration that she would be providing him large amounts of gold, Alger's tone gradually turned pleasant. Audrey really said money talks. Yeah, Audrey really said money talks. Audrey replied with some understanding. The simple example is that the tarot gathering on Monday will first understand if there's a possibility of us bumping into each other members to the point of entering a conflict. Hence, we'll design a set of temporary gestures to identify ourselves. After the matter is over, we would immediately abandon the gestures. If there's any sudden situation and we're unable to communicate in time, or if there's some suspicion, we can seek an opportunity to pray to Mr. Fool to confirm if another member is participating in the same event. Something like that. Alger let out a silent breath. At that moment, Derek suddenly said in enlightenment, "Sorry, I asked a foolish question. Mr. Fool never mentioned any gestures to thank him because he was worried about us exposing ourselves." He immediately looked at the end of the long bronze table. I didn't change it. One sec, let me go back. What would I do? What would I do without, yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, it might not even be the right spelling, but, you know, I'll always make sure I got the right number. Oh wait, shit, where was I now? No, it's right. I did good. After the matter's over, we would immediately abandon the gesture. Oh wait, where was I? Audrey replied with some understanding. The simplest example is that the tarot gathering on Monday will first understand if there's a possibility of bumping into each other. Remember, point of conflict. Hence, we'll design a set of temporary gestures to identify ourselves. After the matter's over, we would immediately abandon the gesture if there's any sudden situation and we're unable to communicate in time, or if there's some if we get any sort of lag, I am stopping the stream. And then harsh. No way. Is it lagging right now? Is it actually lagging right now? That? Are you? Dude, the whole camera, everything, like, it all went off. That was crazy. I saw the light on the camera go off and everything. Harsh, do not speak. Do not write, do not speak, do not nothing. Where was I? Hashtag blame Harsh for real. I don't even remember where it was. Something like that. Alger let out a silent breath. At the moment, Derek suddenly said in enlightenment, "Sorry, I asked a foolish question. Mr. Fool never mentioned any gestures to thank him because he was worried about us exposing ourselves." He immediately looked to the end of the long bronze table. "Your wish steers our path. I just thought of a special hand gesture." Klein chuckled and replied, "That's right." He cast his gaze towards other members and said in a composed manner, "Let us end today's gathering here." By your will, all the members, apart from the moon, stood up at the same time. Emlyn froze for a sec before standing up in a flurry, mimicking the bows of the other members. A deep red light immediately appeared in front of his eyes, and he felt his body plummet slightly. Soon after, his vision returned to normal, and he saw dolls of various sizes in the room. Pew, only until this moment did Emlyn White completely calm down. He recalled his first tarot gathering. Apart from Mr. Fool, the other members don't seem too powerful. Could they be like me, chosen for various reasons? Dude, every time I see your name pop up, I'd like flinch. I flinch like an abused child. Who's backing them? What a joke. I originally imagined the sun to be a demigod who Dude, what is Emlyn's beef with this child? He has beef with a 17-year-old child. What a joke. I originally imagined the sun to be a demigod who just escaped the pursuit of an angel. It turned out to be he's only a sequence 8 and seeking to advance to sequence 7. A child who doesn't know manners definitely isn't an adult yet. However, the city of silver that he mentioned and the experiences that he has had undergone are very strange. I have yet to find an opportunity to ask Lord Nims. No, I have to first ask Cosme, as well as my parents. I'll see if they know anything about the City of Silver. How dare the history books of the City of Silver tamper with the feet of a sanguine? Miss Justice from Backland. She's very, very rich, and she is the daughter of some rich banker or the daughter of some noble, perhaps. Dude, he clocked everyone. He needed one meeting, and he clocked every single person. Perhaps she's a banker or a noble herself. Miss Magician looked at me very strangely. She must admire the lofty sanguine. She doesn't speak much and didn't divulge much about herself. Yes, she's a quiet girl. Mr. Hangman is a mature gentleman. He knows a lot and has a sublime character. He's willing to answer questions from new members and is willing to provide the corresponding help and information. It can be said that he is very popular. The sun and the world are both willing to ask him anything and seek his help. The world is quite an unlikable person. When he speaks, it's like there's phlegm in his throat that he can't spit out. I would disdain ever drinking such a person's blood. It has a dirty taste. He's very introverted and is good at hiding his emotions. Furthermore, he easily produced a sequence 6 beyonder characteristic and promised to provide a psychiatrist beyonder characteristic in 2 months. Very impressive. As the details flashed through his mind, Emlyn discovered that the Tarot Club was simple, but not very simple. Furthermore, Mr. Fool didn't interfere much with the development of the gathering. He seems to be only interested in the so-called Roselle Diary, but he is willing to offer convenient services on the level of miracles to his members. Dude, Emlyn clocked the Tarot Club so fast. At this thought, Emlyn couldn't help but feel a little proud of his identity as the moon. I love him. Surveying the room of dolls, he recalled his own problem. A relic worth 4,000 to 5,000 pounds, a chance to become a baron in a short period of time. This is really putting me in a difficult position. At this moment, although Emlyn hadn't made his final decision yet, he felt the room grow darker as he thought he were shouldering a heavy debt. In an ancient place above the fog, Klein pressed his thumb and middle finger of his right hand to the temple and gently rubbed it. He quickly sat up in a silent environment, allowing a small badge to fly out of the junk pile and land on the long bronze table in front of him. The badge was only the size of an eyeball on the surface, but were symbols that symbolized fate and concealment. It was an item that Klein had found on Lenivas' body. On its back, it was inscribed with the words, "You can join if you have this item." In ancient Hermes, it also provided the corresponding information for the gathering, 4th of January, 1350, 8 p.m. in Balber Valley. Do we get to go there now? The question Klein needed to consider now was whether he should take the badge to the Bulber Valley tomorrow night and try his luck. Yes, he should. He should, in fact, do nothing else but that. Frankly speaking, he was inclined to not delving deeper, even though he had already advanced to Faceless and was able to put on a perfect disguise. He didn't want to take the risk because he didn't know anything about the gathering. A magician never performed underprepared. He muttered softly, took out a gold coin, and held it between his fingers. He picked up the badge with the other hand and muttered to himself, "It's risky to attend the gathering in Bulber Valley." And after repeating this a few times, he flicked the gold coin. The gold coin tumbled down and stood upright in the palm of his hand. This meant that the divination had failed. As expected. Yes! I love when the divination fails, because that means it's about to get good. As expected, Klein wasn't surprised. This isn't a problem of insufficient information, but rather a complete absence of it. He sat there in silence, letting the gold coin weave between his fingers. In the end, Klein overcame his curiosity and adventurous spirit and decided not to go. But that doesn't mean that I can't get involved. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. He smiled faintly and returned to the world. Is he gonna go in his spirit body? Oh, or is he gonna go... He's gotta go. No, wait. 4th of January, 10:35 a.m. Klein stood in front of the mahogany table and picked up a stack of bills. There were 5 10-pound notes and 10 5-pound for a total of 100 pounds. This was the payment which Mr. Hangman had just paid via a sacrifice. The 15 notes made Klein's wallet much fuller, and he finally able to buy his ticket in peace. Putting his wallet away, he picked up a thin human skin glove on the table and put it on his left hand. One of the main features of Creeping Hunger was that it had a camouflage effect. When it wasn't in use, it could be detected by most Beyonders' means. Therefore, Klein was able to switch between its original appearance gloves of various colors and camouflage its skin. This time, he closed black gloves. To the end, Klein had specially prepared an individual black glove for his right hand. Soon after, he placed the brown biological poison bottle into a metal box, sealed it with the wall of spirituality, and stuffed it into the inside pocket of his clothes. As for the sun brooch, as long as he wore it and carried it with him, it would create a hot summer feeling. Klein had no choice but to put it in his iron cigar case and hide it at the bottom of his suitcase. 9 purifying bullets, 15 demon hunting bullets, 3 exorcism bullets. Klein took out his revolver, a cartridge box, silently counting as he loaded them. He closed the cylinder, inserted the revolver into his underarm holster, put on his black tweed coat and half-top hat, picked up his cane and suitcase, and walked out of the hotel room. Apart from the all-black eye and other items that he couldn't use, still being above the gray fog, he was fully armed. Taking the carriage, Klein arrived at the Prince Harbor Ticket Company, located in White Rose Borough. This company had located a rather old 3-story building. There was a wooden notice board on the door. Klein walked over and stopped. Oh my god. Klein walked over and stopped there. He casually glanced at the board, which said, things to take note. 1, maintain order. Lines are strictly enforced. 2, do not urinate or defecate, as well as spitting. 3, the fact they have to put that. 3, find the guard in the lobby if there is a dispute. 4, do not open canned wolffish in any of the rooms. Canned wolffish, what is that? Klein raised his eyebrows. Chapter 490, Warning of a Former Sailor. I'm going to end there because it's 9:15 and I want to go eat some dinner. And we had like a 4.5 hour stream last night. So I'm just going to stop and then we're going to pick up on another time, which will be good. So good. Oh, honestly, okay, here's the thing. Honestly, there's just something different about, now that you've spoken up, I ain't gonna risk any more. Like, there's something different about the pacing of Volume 3 that is like, it's just hitting a bit more. On Sunday, because I'm busy tomorrow and I'm busy the next day, so it's gonna be on Sunday at 7 o'clock. and then we'll go from there. Other than that, thanks so much for joining. You guys have a good night. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.